This video will discuss chapter 11.7, circles and circumference. So I want to make sure you have the formula, or formulas, I guess, for circumference. And so either one of these would work. So circumference can equal either pi times diameter or 2 times pi times radius. And hopefully a lot of you are seeing that they're actually the exact same formula because the diameter is the same as 2 times the radius, right? So the radius is half of the diameter. So if I take the radius and multiply by 2, you'd have the diameter. So basically, depending on which value you're given, if you're given the radius, you need to multiply times 2 and then times pi. If you're given the diameter, you just multiply times pi. So you may want to pause the video at this time to make sure that you get these two formulas into your notes. And so we're going to use these formulas today. And so let's talk about, first, how can I find the circumference of a circle that has a diameter of 3 inches? And so circumference equals pi times diameter. So I'm going to use a calculator that has a pi button. And I'm going to type in pi times diameter. And I end up getting that circumference is approximately 9.42477 ... Which means if I'm going to round to the nearest tenth, then this 2 tells me I should leave the 4 alone. And so circumference equals approximately 9.4 inches. Now remember, circumference is similar to perimeter, so it's just a unit. It's not a square unit or a cubic unit. So around the circle is approximately 9.4 inches. Right? I just went pi times diameter. Now let's take a look at what happens if you are given a radius and not the diameter. And so for this one, I'm going to have to use circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius, which is 5.3. And so I need to go 5.3 times 2 times pi, and I end up getting that the circumference is approximately 33.30088 ... Since I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, this 0 tells me to leave the 3 alone, and so the circumference is approximately 33.3 centimeters. Okay, so this one, because I was given the 5.3, and that is the radius, I knew that I had to use 2 times pi times radius. All right, now, since you are in an algebra class, I'm going to come back to our formulas for a second. Since you are in an algebra class, you don't necessarily have to be given either this value or this value and find circumference. You could be given circumference and asked to find one of these values. So for example, if I were given this circle and told the circumference is 40 meters, they ask me what is the diameter. Well, that means I'm going to use circumference equals pi times d. And since I know circumference equals pi times d, I'm going to substitute the 40 in because I know that's the circumference. Now, in order to find d, what I need to do is divide both sides by pi. And so if I divide this side by pi and I divide this side by pi, pi will cancel out because I'm dividing by the same number. Keep in mind, pi is just a number. Maybe a really long number, but it's just a number. And so pi divided by pi is 1. It cancels out. And so I'm left with d on this side. And now I have 40 divided by pi. And 40, I'm typing in the wrong thing to my calculator. 40 divided by pi is approximately, sorry, I should have put this as a squiggly line, 12.7323 ... And so this 3 tells me that if I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, I should leave the 7 alone. And so the diameter is approximately 12.7. Okay, now if I wanted to find the radius, because sometimes they're going to ask you the radius, remember all I would then have to do here is divide by 2 again. And so if I divide this number by 2, remember I'm taking this whole number and dividing it by 2. When I divide that by 2, I end up getting that circumference is approximately, right, and so then dividing by 2 means the circumference is 6.3661 ... This 6 tells me I should round up, so this means I'm approximately at 6.4 meters, and I should have put meters up here. So diameter is 12.7, and if I wanted to find the radius, remember I would just have to divide by 2 again. Sorry, that shouldn't say C, that should say R. So the diameter is 12.7, and the radius would be 6.4. All right, that's all we got for you today on circles and circumference. Thank you very much for watching the video. Don't forget to do the problems at the bottom of the page. See you in class.